Hey traders from around the world, this is Jerremy Alexander Newsome with Real Life Trading. Hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. So this video might sound and look a little bit different than most. That's because I'm actually working on a PC. This is the PC that Market Technologies and VantagePoint sent me, which is still unbelievable. I'm using their PC, and I'm going to review VantagePoint for you, but I'm going to do it in an odd way, actually. I know I'm under a little bit of time, meaning I don't want this process of the review for me to take months or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hop in just straight out the gate into the platform itself to show you some potential trade setups using the information. Then I'm going to come back in a week or so and see if those trade setups worked and then explain to you guys how to use the software. I think that might be the coolest thing to do. So I'm just going to kind of hop in there and just kind of show you what's going on. So without explaining really anything exactly at this exact moment in time, and again, we're going to get to that just in the future video. But right now, it's August 28th. The market is closed. And this is a really, really interesting software. But again, I'm going to get into all the nuts and bolts momentarily. I'm going to try to see if I can find us a trade on some of these stocks based on some of the analysis that we have, and see if we can figure out what's going on. Based on some of the predictive indicators that VantagePoint has and some of the charting abilities, which is really, really interesting stuff. So first and foremost, really quick, this little candle over here that you see, this is the predictive candle for the next day. So again, today is Friday. The market's closed. Market will be opening on Monday. So this predictive information is taking all kinds of intermarket analysis from futures, Forex, other stocks, other indices, and coupling it all together with some proprietary information that I truly don't know, and obviously we'll probably never be able to figure out. But it's just taking all the information, bundling it together, and figuring out, okay, based on all the information, what will Apple likely do on Monday? So right now on Monday, it's looking, I don't think this candle is fully closed yet, and usually it's about 6:30 at night Eastern that all the information has been sorted through, and then the candle gets there. But again, we'll kind of see how it looks. So right now the predictive high is about, we can see 114.55, and the predicted low is 111.75. So we'll see how that played out on Monday. Now we don't know if it's going to be an up candle or a down candle yet. I don't think. So we'll see. But it does the predictive high and the predictive low. This blue line is the predictive moving average, and it's unlike any other moving average I've ever used before. It's very interesting. And what I mean by predictive is it's taking all of the intermarket analysis across all 25 markets. I mean, we're talking Forex, we're talking futures, we're talking other stocks, other sectors, other indices, and it's taking all the information and how all stocks weigh upon Apple. So let's say, BlackBerry, Verizon, Google, it's taking all these stocks, how are they trading, factoring in, crunching some crazy formula to determine, okay, based on all that information, what could Apple do? So this blue line is simply saying where it should be going in the future. It's actually a predictive moving average. So it says in the future, it should be going this direction. The black line is an actual moving average. So if you right-click on the chart, you come to properties, and you can change what you want the actual moving average to be. So you have 5, 10. So let's use the 10, for example. In the predictive moving average, you can use 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, or 18. I'm going to use the 3-day. Turn that off, and I'm going to click Apply. Okay, there we go. So that's how it's going to change a little bit for us. And again, once this blue line, more or less once the predictive moving average crosses the actual moving average, that likely is the direction that the stock could be going. Now, we don't know for how long, obviously, but you can kind of determine, based on this little indicator down here, if the light blue line crosses the moving average, that's the predicted moving average. So saying, okay, based on this average, based on all the intermarket analysis, what will this do? So I'm going to try to find something that's already crossing. That's going to be my goal. And I have not tinkered with this enough to exactly know how to do this. I'm going to try to practice this really quick. But I do know that you can go in here. Let me see where it is. File, portfolio, set, startup, IntelliScan. So I think it might be IntelliScan. So this IntelliScan you can create, and I'm sure it helps you scan, and you can change, all right, what do you want to see? Okay, so yeah, this is the scanning system. All right. So medium term crossed days ago, and I think we can sort this. I forget exactly how. let me see if I can, I'll figure out how to sort this. Okay, so I just clicked on this and it sorted it automatically. So let me go to BlackBerry. And BlackBerry, it's saying that medium term bullish crossed 2 days ago. Medium term crosses up. Neural index is at a 1. So pretty much this goes from 1 to 0. So if a 1 is if the 1 is up, so if that's confirming as along with this line, then BlackBerry should go a little bit higher. And now you can see the predictive high and predictive low. Very, very small range on Monday. It's predicting kind of a smaller range on Monday, so about 4 to 5 cents. But it is predicting that it potentially could go higher. So we'll see what BlackBerry does on Monday or in the future. I'll come back to this review after I've done that and see what it looks like. Cree Research, again, this IntelliScan is a pretty cool thing. And this is taking all this information and saying that, you know, it has a really, really big candle. So now that you have this predictive high, predictive low, that this is crossing up, you can say to yourself, well, okay, it might not be the best trade. I'm just trying to interpret what I see. Because you're telling this predictive candle could break the low of today. So you probably wouldn't want to get into that trade is my guess. This one could be a good one. So Network Appliance, ticker symbol NTAP. So NTAP has a medium-term cross 4 days ago, and you can change all of these, by the way, to whatever you want. Let me go ahead and see if I can click on this and go to Properties. I can go to General. Again, you can change everything just like every other charting software. You can do that. Indicators, again, so you can do short-term crossover, high and low price, medium-term, long-term, all the different predictive differences. You can do other indicators. They actually have a predictive MACD, stochastics, RSI, so those are all really, really cool. And again, you can change everything, the colors. Those, you know, those are normal, right? That's the normal charting software stuff. What is interesting is, again, just the map, and I'll show you guys this after we're done. In the future, I'll show you this, but you can hopefully see all the intermarket analysis that is going into understanding where this might move. So again, it's taking indices, Forex, how some currency might interpret or affect or change the way that Network Appliance, ticker symbol NTAP, might change. And maybe there's one stock out there that's weighted really heavily. I don't know what it is right now, but there one stock might be weighted more heavily than another. So let's say Mobileye is weighted really heavily. So whatever Mobileye does, the network does the opposite. So that's going to be factored into that inner market analysis and comes up with a prediction. So based on this candle, it says a predicted high, predicted low. So okay, if you're confirmed bullish, you're thinking to yourself, all right, it's cross bullish, got some higher highs and some higher lows. The predictive low is 32.05. So you could say predictive and the predictive high and the predicted low. So you can say, all right, well, if the predicted high is 31.19 and the predictive low, you look at it and say, okay, well, it might be making some higher highs and some higher lows. So maybe I'll try to see if I can pick this up. If it's making some higher highs, higher lows, I'll buy it on the pullback. So Network Appliance, BlackBerry, two of the ones that are looking bullish. Let's see if I can find some bearish ones. Microsoft crossed 6 days ago. All right, so it did cross there. So that was a kind of a good trend. So when it crossed, it pulled in. Let's see. Apple crossed. Yeah, so I'm talking medium terms. Let's see if I can figure out how to change this. Properties, indicators. All right, so I can do all those differences. I'm going to do short-term difference and click apply. And that's going to change things, I think. All right, so I got the neural index. Short-term difference is up. Okay, so that's interesting. So notice there's a Microsoft trend. You got the short-term difference is an uptrend. Medium is still in a downtrend. Long-term is still in an uptrend. That's kind of cool. So again, you can zoom in and out here. So you can this is zooming in. This is zooming out, and you can see kind of the chart that we're looking at here. But really, the technical analysis is not going to change with this particular software, right? Well, you're still basing everything on your support resistance, your candle lines. But it could be one of those interesting things where, okay, you're looking at Microsoft. You got this short-term cross. The neural index is at a 1. So you got the cross, you got the 1, you got the predictive high and low of Monday, meaning if it pulls back, this is a bullish. You could probably buy it on the pullback and set your stop maybe below this moving average, so about 42. So we'll see if Microsoft continues bullish on Monday. Yeah, so those are just three examples that I want to just kind of run through really quick, and we'll see how this works, see if it does work in the future. And in regards to getting better at this, I do know in your first 6 months of a product purchase, you can have coaching sessions with the people who help not design the software, but can use it. So that's one thing that's kind of annoyed me in the past about brokers or charting softwares that I talk to. I'll talk to them, and they don't really know anything about trading. They know their software. They know how the software works. They're like, okay, well, when the blue line goes up, you go bullish, or when it goes down, you go bearish. But they don't really know trading. They know how the software works, but they don't know trading. So Daniel, the last time I was talking to him, he was looking at Skechers. So let's hop over to Skechers. So you're going to type in Skechers over here, SKX, Skechers. Hop over here, opening the chart. And again, back over here where I wanted to go bearish on Skechers, it did have that bearish crossover. It's pulled back. And so now it still hasn't crossed bullish, which is interesting. So the neural index is up, but the moving average, the predicted moving average, has not crossed yet. So this will be one of those situations where, okay, probably a little bit of diverging information, so might look to short Skechers. Again, I'm just kind of piecing these things together. But anyway, I'll give you guys more information, more insight on how everything is pieced together in the future. I just want to kind of give you guys a glimpse of, okay, here's some data. Again, you can make the chart as big as you want. You can do a little bit of that. I think you actually hide this. There you go. You can get a really nice size chart to really, really check it out. But what was interesting about the Skechers is it really did start crossing over back here. Is a good little crossover. You can change these moving averages depending on your time frame. If you're a longer term trader, I think it has a longer term setting on here as well, which actually, in my opinion, is probably one of the better ones. Again, I think if I had to really piece in what the exact demographic for this would be my longer term swing traders. So let me do this. The longer term, I think, applies, works pretty well. So here's the long term crossover. And again, we can zoom out a little bit here. And notice on Skechers, so this crossover occurred, this longer term crossover, and you can change the moving average if you needed to a longer term moving average as well. I could do that. Come in here, moving average. So we got the 15-day, and then this is the 6-day. If you want to change it, you can. You can change the color. Obviously, you can do all that kind of good stuff. But the 15 moving average, you can change that if you want to. If you use the 20 or the 50, you can change all that as well. And more or less is if the predictive moving average is giving you an idea of where the future could lead based on the intermarket analysis, factoring in Skechers, Nike, Under Armour, Disney, Designer Shoe Warehouse, right? How all of these stocks are trading that day to see what kind of strength, the open, high, low, and close, factoring in all the proprietary information. I don't know how it works, but I just I know the end result. But the longer term trades, you can see the crossover happened down at 70, and it never crossed over bearish until here, about 150. So that's really interesting. I mean, I know it's based on moving averages, but if you're using like the 10 to 20 exponential or the 10, 20 simple, you did get a few crosses in there. And in regards to just simply using moving averages to trade, obviously is really helpful when a stock is trending. But just knowing based on that predictive moving average what may or may not happen, I think is kind of cool. So my thought is based on this candle and based on some of this divergence that I see on this indicator and this indicator, I'm calling Skechers going to be going down a little bit in the next few days, potentially once it hits that moving average and kind of rolls over. So longer term is still bearish right now, according to this the predictive crossover on Skechers. So we'll see. I'll hop you guys. I'll do a little time travel for you, and I'll see you in about a week. All right, time travel complete. What's up, traders from around the world? It's Jerremy Alexander Newsome. So it is September 10th, 2015, and just kind of hopping into what we talked about in the last video, and we're here on Apple. So really quick, one of the things that I was noticing is that I couldn't really take the chart and manipulate it how I want to. And what I mean by that is I could take it, I can't really zoom in, zoom out the exact way I want to do so. So if you wanted to change your time frame, you kind of come over here and you can select a custom amount of time frame. So again, you can't actually grab the chart and manipulate it like you can in a lot of charting softwares. Just a thing to kind of keep in mind. If you're selecting different time frames, you can say, all right, I really want to look at this time frame, specifically, and click on, and it says okay. You can kind of do that as well. You come back here from your previous, and then you zoom out, and you can click on zoom out, zoom in, but you can go back. You can see right now we're changing This is all the way back in 2014. So if you're pressing the next and the previous buttons, you're going in from the same amount of time that you had earlier. But you can't, again, get the exact, I don't know if the manipulation is the right word. That might be a little bit of a rough word. But you can't grab the chart and move it, how a lot of charting softwares are used to, which kind of makes it simple as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Anyway, the last time we looked at Apple was on the 28th of August, and I mentioned that it was going to be a predictive trade up a little bit higher. And again, as volatile as this market is, I was actually a little suspect of some of the trades I was talking about being potentially bullish or potentially bearish. Apple, as you can see in the video, it had a predictive high, I think, of 114 and some change. The high of that day on Apple was 113 and some change. So very, very close. I mean, that's incredible. The high of that day was 113.24, and the low was 110.02. So the predictive low was like 111 and some change, and the predictive high was 114 some change. But it was predicting a bullish day on Apple, which it did have. Again, so as a day trader or a swing trader, I think that could be useful to know on that day or the next day or the next day. You know, you have those understandings. So as of right now on Apple, it's predicting a predictive high of 111.98. So the high of today is 113.28, but it is showing kind of like a lower low, lower high inside day candle. It is right now, Apple, the market being open. This is not intraday data. VantagePoint doesn't specifically do intraday data that I'm aware of, that I know about, but it does more or less for my swing traders out there. But it does represent that Apple could likely make a lower low and a lower high, which is also kind of what I thought today would happen. It did make a lower low. I'm sorry, I apologize. It made a lower high. It didn't quite make a lower low yet. But again, it doesn't really show a lot of bullish strength. But regardless, the last time we looked at it, Apple did have a few points of a pop. So that's really quite interesting, I think, overall. The other ones we looked at, we checked out BlackBerry, ticker symbol BBRY. And BlackBerry, I was also mentioning, based on the scan, that it would probably pop just a little bit. So let's hop over here to BlackBerry. And again, I noticed, and I mentioned that in the video that the prior me a few weeks ago, that it was showing some bullish crossovers and some bullish strength. And again, BlackBerry, same thing, did actually pop the next day, did have some bullish sentiment, some bullish candles really for 2 or 3 days in there. And you could have had the opportunity to buy the pullback the next day. But again, having that crossover, that scan that I showed you does and did allow you to at least, again, go in with a little bit of a bullish perspective on BlackBerry. So that's really fascinating. The other one that we looked at was NTAP, ticker symbol NTAP. And this is the another stock that was mentioning, okay, well, it looks like it's going to have a bullish day. It did have 3 bullish days, so that's a good for a whole dollar move. Again, I was mentioning in the video that you could probably wait for a little bit of a pullback. It did have a little bit of a pullback. The low was 30.87. Was the predictive low of that day. I'm sorry, for tomorrow, today. So the predictive high today is 31.95 on NTAP. Let me hop over here. I have another charting software up just to see what that's doing today. The high of today was 31.64. That's pretty dang good. Again, predictive high for today is 31.95. The predictive low is 30.87, and the low is 30.95. So again, obviously we're not getting to the penny, but that's not really our thought, or that's not really what we expected. I don't believe anyway. You can see that we had a little bit of a buy signal last time we looked at it. It did have an opportunity to buy. It has pulled back. It also has bounced a little bit from that pullback. And we can see that there is some opportunity to be a little bullish on network appliance since last time we looked at it. And then Skechers, right? I was mentioning Skechers when I had some diverging information, and so it looked a little bearish to me. And it still does look a little bearish on this chart and some other charts that you might look at. So Skechers, we're talking about this particular trend that we're keeping an eye on. It's still the predictive moving average is crossed. You got the actual moving average acting as a resistance, and so it still shows a little bit of a weakness here. So the last time we looked at it, which was August 28th, mentioning it looks a little bearish. It might have some rollover, and it did. It did have a little bit of a rollover. So that's, again, pretty cool, pretty interesting and exciting stuff to look at on the market. So really, since the last analysis that we did, is basic as I do have my understanding of this software, we're about 4 for 4, which is pretty fantastic. And again, just throwing this out there, if you want to try to check out the scans, or you want to have an indicator not an indicator built for you, but an indicator setting that works for your style of trading. So maybe you're really, really long term or you're really, really short term. You want to know what kind of indicators, what type of settings you can use. You can always change the settings. And of course, you can have a coaching session with the customer service representatives at VantagePoint and go through with them, and they can help. Just have a join me or a webinar session where you can build based on your trading style what type of indicators or averages you want to use and you want to see. I think that's really, really interesting. A lot of charting softwares don't do that. Building it kind of custom made to you, showing you, okay, if you're interested in this type of trading, these are the type of either indicators or averages you should use. So one of the other things I want to show you that I talked about in the a few weeks ago, was the intermarket analysis, and just kind of show you the stocks and companies and indices that correlate to build the predictive moving averages and predictive indicators that you can see. So what you do is you hop over here and you type in the company's name or ticker, or you find it however you want to find it, and you'll see it has Apple. So this is the actual chart, and right above it you'll see that it has the name of the company. You right click on that and come to properties, and this is the really, really cool place where I think a lot of you guys might totally geek out on this. You can check out the intermarkets. And this intermarket analysis is what VantagePoint pulls from Mr. Mendelson's proprietary methodology. And it takes all the information, it weighs them differently, and it groups them differently, and it takes all the info to see which is priced higher, priced lower, which has more of an impact, which has less of an impact, which has a higher correlation, which has less of a correlation. And you can see the ETFs that's built in here, the IWF, the IWM, OEF, QQQ, SPY, XLK. Then you got some currencies in here. Check out that. You got the currencies, the yen, the euro, natural gas, E-minis. You also have gold, and here's some other stocks in here that you have, which again I think is really, really interesting. Healthcare, you have Abbott, Eli Lilly, and then you have some services, 1-800-Flowers, Bridgepoint Education, China Auto, Logistics. So if you wanted to, you could pull up these companies to see what they're doing on the chart. So if you want to say, all right, I wonder what CALI is doing today. It has some type of correlation with Apple. Come over here to type in CLAI, and where did it go? Pacific. I don't think that's CLAI. Oops, I missed it. I think I typed in something wrong. Let me come back over here at Apple. But anyway, you guys get the idea. That's obviously counterintuitive. I'm just kind of dumb. So you come over here, and again, you're in markets, and you find out whatever company or whatever ticker you want to look at. If you have, this is U.S. stock, China Auto Logistics, Darden Restaurants, ticker symbol DRI. Again, you can see how is that going to be based. I don't think I'm in U.S. markets. Where am I? Darden. I'm typing in something wrong. Darden Restaurants. Okay, there it is. There you go. Anyway, ticker symbol DRI. There it is. I'll pull up the chart. And so again, you can see, I wonder what Darden Restaurants is doing today. And you look at the predictive crossover. So as of right now, the crossover hasn't happened, but the neural index is pointing to the 0. So if we get that crossover, that predictive moving average crossover, crosses the black line, so it crossed the line here bullish, and you got a bullish confirmation to do that. Boop. And so again, you could have caught 2 or 3, maybe $4, depending on your entry and depending on your analysis. Felt great for my swing traders, possibly my longer term traders as well, which sometimes I'll call core traders, right? Traders who want to be in trades months or years, and you can have that predictive analysis, and it does a lot of the work for you, taking all the intermarket analysis of all the other stocks out there, all the other futures, currencies, and you can depict and debate, all right, I want to build a custom setting for me. I'm a longer term trader. You call VantagePoint, hey, help me build. I want a MACD, I want a stochastics, I want an RSI, I want a moving average. For a trader, I usually hold my trades for 6 months, and I'd like to trade these type of trades. You build yourself a little bit of a portfolio, get your portfolio built like this one. So US Tech, you have Apple, Skechers, BlackBerry, Network Appliance, Darden Restaurants, whatever you want to look at. You can build a default portfolio, basic metals. You can build whatever portfolios you want. In those portfolios, you can do short-term, long-term. You get the settings built for you, kind of show you how to go in, update the settings, change the settings, save the indicators that you want to use for the particular stock. I think it's very, very interesting. And the fact that it's one of the few indicators out there that I can see why it's predictive. Not just saying, hey, this is a leading indicator, but actually seeing the why behind the ability that it leads and understands and takes all the data from all the other stocks, and not all the stocks, right? But just some stocks. It doesn't take out everything else out there in the world, but it takes the things that are relevant, the ones that have volume, the ones that are in the news, the ones that are moving with volume, and takes those and analyzes that I just think it's really, really mind-blowing the fact that Mr. Mendelsohn was and is that smart to be able to compute and comprehend and understand that massive quantity of data and be able to put it into a nice, soft proprietary system. I think that's really, really fascinating. So anyway, that's kind of my overview of VantagePoint. You guys know I've done a lot of work with brokers and other charting softwares. So overall, I'm going to rate VantagePoint as an A+ forecasting software. It's not specifically a charting software. It has a lot of limitations with trend lines and drawings and charts and text and things like that. But it's not just specifically a charting software. It's not really for charting. You could always get charting from a broker, but this specific software is more for the predictive forecasting functionality, and I think that is really what sets us apart from a lot of its competitors and or other brokers. I'll continue to scour the web out there for the best of the best, but as of right now, I think I found one of the top tier ones. If you guys are interested in it, there's a link at the bottom of the video and the bottom of this page. You can click on it, get more information there if you want it. I mean, feel free to have it. It's a cool software for sure. But if you want additional information, feel free to speak with Market Technologies, contact your rep there, maybe have Daniel walk you through, do a little bit of a walkthrough and to see how it could fit your style of trading. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and beneficial. If you have any questions for me personally, you're more than welcome to reach out anytime. Jerremy at reallifetraining.com is my email. Thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Enjoy VantagePoint. Enjoy the profits you might make with this incredible analysis software machine. And until next time, remember, love life, live life, and trade it. I'll see you later.